being up here in North Dakota, I was realizing that there was women going and getting microblading, and microblading's, there's definitely room in the world for it, but there was a lot that I was seeing that it wasn't looking as natural as women were being promised. And I was like, well, I want to get into that. And I started looking for microblading courses. And then I started looking up natural brow courses, and there weren't any except for this company, and they used to go by the other name, Brow Artists International, which is now TrueBrow. And I contacted them, and a few days later, Elle Wilson contacted me, and then she had a couple of other people contact me. And I had never heard of anything like this before. I had never heard of anybody saving the natural brow, and I didn't know what that meant, and I didn't know how important that was going to be for me and important for women in general. I try to take all the different courses that she has available because I learned so much. I do really well with a mentor, and I do really well with her because you're allowed to reach out to her constantly. I can contact Elle anytime and she's going to be there for me, 100% going to be there for me. I have people lining up for my services now, and that's a big deal that people like my work. Like, I went to a birthday party for my son. My son is in first grade, and I showed up, and one of the moms was like, "Oh, you're the brow girl." I said, I guess, yeah. And they were like, "Oh, no." And all of them, I had like 6 or 7 moms there talking about it, like, "Oh no, we've heard about you." Like, "Oh, so-and-so was talking about you. We were talking about you when I was getting my hair cut." And I was like, okay, well, I hope it was all good, because, because that's kind of scary for me. And they were like, "Oh, no, I have to come see you." You know what I mean? Like, they were so excited about something that's offered to them that's authentic and genuine and mindful. This process, there's so much to it. But if authentic, genuine beauty and restoration and design work, like, that's something else I'd never thought about before. Actual design work, like when you look into what design is, architects, haute couture designers, like, Elle's not kidding when she says that those are the same principles that we're using to give women something so beautiful and so genuine and so authentic. I probably get on a class once or twice a month now, getting on classes, making sure that I listen to her lives, make sure that I listen, to the recordings that she does. It's all up here, right? It's all something that I'm chewing on. It's all something that I think about. It's all something that I implement in my business, and something that I'm going to continue to implement. And it is a process, and you can't rush these processes. And if I was to take something like microblading, I could take an 8-hour course, get my bloodborne pathogens certificate, and start cutting people open, right? And doing all that. But this is not the same thing. This is authentic design, authentic beauty. This takes time. The skills take time. For some people, they get it real quick. I was not one to get it real quick. It has taken me a long time. And I have people that are just so wowed by what it is that has happened with them when I get to work on them. And that takes time, and it's okay to go into that journey and for it to take time, because I know it looks like a big course. I know not getting a certificate at the end of it seems never ending. This is not those other courses that's real quick, you get it done and over with. Design takes time, beauty takes time, your skill set takes time. I had a client recently who teared up and cried, and I cried with her, because and this was an important one for me. This was like a big one for me that I did recently. This particular client had suffered an accident back in like 2017, plus had a scar in the same brow. That accident had actually drooped the one side of her face, so it's almost like a palsy, but like on the one side. And luckily it hadn't gotten down to her mouth, but it's all in her eye and on her forehead. And she had just been getting waxed at one of the little nail shops. They'd just been cleaning her up, and she had one brow down here and one brow that was overarched on the other side, short, and it did nothing for her. It did absolutely nothing for her. And she told me that she didn't look in mirrors anymore because she always saw the accident, that she didn't put on makeup. She didn't want to enhance the fact that she had one brow that was straight across, rolled down low, and one that was curved up here. That affected her. That affected her mentally and emotionally. And she was thinking about going and getting tattooing done, but she didn't like the idea. She had people that she had seen it done, and they had that fading where it spreads, where it was, I think it's too deep or too close to the surface where it spreads. And that's something that she worried about. She said the term that I fixed her face, which that's not how I'd put it, but it was kind of funny. But to be able to use her actual hair, and she didn't have a whole lot of restoration, she didn't have a whole lot of hair growth, but to actually use what she has to rebalance the features on her face, like, that meant everything to her. Like, she didn't even know how much that would mean to her. And she was like, you talk about my potential, I didn't believe it. You talk about what you see, and I didn't believe it. And she was almost in tears, basically, well, in tears when she left here the last time that I saw her, because it took away the accident, but it took away that looking into the mirror part of it, that every single day having to live with what happened and how it changed her physical beauty. And that meant everything to her. And that meant everything to me. Like, that was a big deal. That was a big deal to me. And I'm carrying that one with me still. Like, that one's still right here at the surface with me. I get so excited about her. Because she's like, I've had compliments. People have noticed. They ask me what's different. If they don't know what it is, they ask me what's different, because it was significant for her. So usually when I do like consultations, which I don't really do anymore because word of mouth has gotten just huge for me. But usually when I do consultations, I'm telling people about what I see and my vision for them, right? My vision, what I see, their potential. And obviously this service is mainly, for women, you know what I mean? And with women, we have been absolutely battered with media telling us we're not good enough and beauty standards telling us that we're not good enough. I grew up, for example, my features, my skin color in predominantly, different areas. I didn't look like everybody else. I remember going to grocery stores and toy stores, and I never saw a Barbie that looked like me. You know what I mean? That had an effect on me, thinking that I was not beautiful in some way. You know what I mean? And I know all of us have had that. Doesn't matter what color you are, doesn't matter how old you are, every single one of us has had that. My 70-year-old mother, because it has been ingrained in her that she didn't look like the movie stars when she was growing up, that she wasn't beautiful. And it is absolutely ingrained in her. And I can't convince her otherwise. It is so difficult. And like I said, between media, between magazines, models, just the world that we live in, school, getting bullied at school, women come in here with all of those layers of just, I don't know what you call it, self-hate, we're not good enough. And when you talk about their genuine potential and their genuine beauty and what you see, they don't want to believe it. They want to, oh, okay, well, all right, well, we'll see. They want to shrug it off because they want to be strong about it, right? They want to accept the fact that they're not beautiful, and that's going to be their fact, and it's not a fact. It's absolutely 100% a falsehood that we've been taught. And I make that connection with my clients all the time. I had a client in here not too long ago, I want to say about a week or two ago, who suffered some alopecia, for example, and suffered it on her head and suffered in her eyebrows, and she's getting her eyebrows back, she's getting her hair back. But the pain that she was going through was, I think the word is palpable. Like, it was just in the air. It was thick. And when you tell somebody their potential, they want to fight you on it. They absolutely want to fight you on it. And I catch myself doing that too, even with my own husband. He's like, oh, you look really nice today. I'm like, no, I don't. And we have to stop doing that. We have to see what makes us unique and special and beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And when you make that connection with your clients, and when you start to, every week it starts to change, and you work on brows, and sometimes they become your skin clients, and sometimes they become, clients for different services that you have, they start to see it. And that moment when they start to see it, they start putting a lot of trust in you. Like, I have a client, I do brows on her, right? I do TrueBrow on her. And she had the really hard hooks in her brows, right? One appointment, I got those out. One appointment, I changed the whole aspect of her face. I'm not done with her necessarily, but one appointment made a difference. And I saw her, it was like during prom or something, I think about a month ago. And she was talking about me in front of people. And she's like, whatever Casey says, do it, whatever she says. And I was like, I kind of walked into the room and she was saying it because they were doing makeup downstairs. And I was like, me? Like, you're listening to my advice? You want anything that I say goes? What? And they were like, yeah, absolutely, anything. And it's like, wow, I made that connection with somebody. Like, this person absolutely trusts me, and trusts me with their beauty and with their part of their heart, right? That damaged part of our women's hearts, right? That has just been, battered, like I said. And I think services like this, services that provide genuine beauty, taking care of compromised areas of our beauty, I think has such a healing effect on us. This is a healing service for some women. Elle taught me, like, our services with our clients when we do TrueBrow is supposed to be a more quiet service. Absolutely. And women feel like I have them come in here and they will just be frazzled and they want to rush the appointment. And I can totally get them calm most of the time. I've had very few that didn't leave here calmer than how they came out, you know what I mean? And they tell me that. They say, we have such a good experience here. And my room isn't the best. My equipment isn't the best yet. I don't have decorations up on my wall yet. But they come back to me because they feel safe and they trust me. And they trust me with what it is that I'm telling them. And they're starting to believe it because it's all true. It's absolutely 100% all true. If someone is considering it, I would tell them that it's been absolutely life-changing for me. But the commitment is, you have to be 100% in. It's special, it's important. You're not going to find this somewhere else. But it absolutely changed my life. It changed my view of the world. It changed how I treat people. It changed my wallet. You know what I mean? It changed my bank account. It changed my goals and my dreams. I'm reaching goals and dreams that if you would have asked me 5 years ago if I would have been at the point that I am right now, the answer would have been absolutely not. There's no way. Ella's very special to me. Okay, Ella's my mentor. I don't want to necessarily say that she's been a friend because that's the wrong word. She's been a mentor. She's been a mother figure. Elle does not approach things the way that I have been taught to approach things. And I have had to completely rewire how I think about things. Think about TrueBrow, for example. She could have gone about TrueBrow 100 different ways, 100 different quick ways. And instead she chose to do it this way. And I thought about that actually not too long ago, like maybe like a year ago, I was thinking about that. I was like, man, how come Elle does it this way? Like just not questioning her, but just wondering like what makes her tick, what makes her think this way. And it's because she's genuine and she's authentic and she wants her brand and her specialists to all be genuine and authentic and masters of our domain and professional and loving and all these different things. The first time I met Elle was in Texas, and I showed up early to the little shop that we were going to be doing our day at. And I see this petite, beautiful little woman, you know, busy running around the shop in her little black heels and this beautiful fringe dress. And I looked at that and I'm over here in my t-shirt and jeans. And I'm like, that's what I want to be when I grow up. I want to be her when I grow up. Like she is absolutely fabulous inside and out. And Ella's been there for me for personal issues. She's been there for me with my business and learning. And every time I questioned or every time I doubted, she was right there. She has held my hand through the last 5 years of my life. Yeah, she gives a lot of herself. Her cup is full and she just pours out all the time. It feels exclusive in a way because it is mastery-based learning. These are professionals at the top of their game. These are experts at the top of their game. And then of course, everybody that's learning. And that's really cool for me. Like I'm becoming an expert in something. Are you serious? I'm a design expert. Are you kidding me right now? Like that's who I am. I'm going to be at the top of this list of greats one day. That's incredible. I never thought I was going to be close to being this person. I really like that. And I like being a part of this community. And I have I'm a part of like skincare communities and all these different things. I have none of them do what Elle does. Not one of them is as kind or as focused or as mindful or thoughtful as Elle Wilson is in these groups, and how she directs us and guides us and focuses us. There's nothing else like it in those groups. TrueBrow is an advanced natural brow restoration and design system. We use design principles the same way that an architect or a haute couture designer would use: balance, flow, lines, all these different things. And we really think about many different aspects of your eyebrows, not just get them cleaned up and just put them into a shape. This is not a trend. This is not a trendy eyebrow. This is not blocky or square or harsh. You know how some brows give people an emotion. So some brows are surprised and some brows are angry and some brows are, the peak points are too far back. Like these are all things that when people look at us and, you know, they can judge a book by its cover, which is something real that happens. They tell us that we're mean mugging or that we have, you know, resting mean girl face. And that compromises our beauty, but it also compromises the fact that people don't give us a chance either. You know what I mean? They make a presumption. And I see a lot of, especially young girls with brows that are already in an emotional state. I don't know any other way to put it. That would be something that I would talk about if I had someone come in that had brows that had an emotion to them. Somebody that has compromised brows, they overplucked back in the 90s or in the early 2000s. I would show them a picture and I'd zoom in and I'd say, what do you see? And they would tell me all these terrible things. Elle has taught me to not see, obviously we know about the things that are not great, but to not see the lack, right? To only see the potential. So it doesn't matter if this hair ever comes back. I'm going to give you your best brow right now. And then we're going to work on it from there. I'm going to do the very best too. And then sometimes I have clients like that one client that had a brow down here and a brow way up here, or one's wonky or, you know, one's higher up than the other. I'm going to rebalance your whole face. You're going to love me because I'm just going to rebalance your whole face. And this is going to be your real hair. This isn't microblading. This isn't tattooing. This is your real hair, and it's a commitment in your time, and to make sure that you come in regularly when the appointments are scheduled. It makes me feel important. So restoration and design specialist. So Just throwing that out there. I feel important, and that's a big deal for me. I feel like I know what I'm talking about when I talk to my clients, and that's a big deal for me. I don't feel like a little lost kid anymore, because I felt like a little lost kid for a very long time, and I don't feel like that anymore. If anybody out there is, wanting to do TrueBrow, right? They're wanting to get into the program and they're hesitant because of the time or the money or the effort. It's 100% worth it. It's absolutely worth it if you're going to throw yourself into this. It's 100% worth it to do it. Sometimes it's flying to Minnesota or Seattle or Texas or driving to Vegas. Sometimes it's those things. Sometimes it's getting on your portal while your kids are playing. It's not easy to go the extra mile in your education. You know what I mean? Like, some people just want to put their education into that 8 hours while they're working, and I get that. But for excellence and mastery, it's always good to use that time after, like any kind of spots that you have throughout your day, even if it's not in that normal 8-hour work day. Like, that's where the mastery is. I think that's where a lot of the learning comes from. So it's good to use your time wisely, and TrueBrow, it is just such an amazing program, and it has absolutely 100% changed my life in every aspect.